Once you have finished chunk 6, we're going to move into chunk 7, which is probably the most important one. I want you to, if at all possible, print a copy of your paper. If you need me to print that for you, that's fine. Just let me know. I would rather you did this by hand. If there's no way to do it by hand, I understand that. But in that case, I would want you to write all this stuff down, and it would be a heck of a lot easier if you could just highlight and write on your actual paper. Because the grade that you're getting will be for the editing marks for all of the editing that you're doing, nothing else, okay? So I want to see every verb being replaced, and I want you to make sure that you have a consistent verb tense, which means if you begin the paragraph with was, that's past tense. Look for everything that is a verb and make sure that it's all in past tense. So here's an example of inconsistent verb tense. Advocates of thorough hand washing believe that this practice will help prevent illness. There have been those who challenged this view. So we started with will, that's our verb, which is in the present tense. Then we move to past tense, and the ed here is past tense. Now I know you can't see this yellow because I made a mistake. Okay, so the consistent verb tense would read, I'm going to highlight, oh, that makes it worse. All right. Advocates of thorough hand washing believe this practice helps prevent illness. Oh, God. There are those who challenge this view. Sheesh, that was hard for me to read. Okay. So helps, are, challenge, all in the same tense. Now, here's one you can actually see. Inconsistent verb tense. While Lee was answering the doorbell, the intruder had entered through the bedroom window. Here's the way that it should read. While Lee was answering the doorbell, the intruder was entering through the bedroom window. Now, if you'll remember, we did a whole section on matching up the verb tense. We also did a whole section on the parallel structure. So in this case, we've got both of those coming together. Was answering, was entering. If you remember parallel structure, one of the sentences was something went across the roof and down the wall. So this is was answering, was entering. The nurse entered the room quickly and closed the door. Anytime you've got inconsistent verb tense, was answering, had entered, even though people may not necessarily notice, something in their brain says this is better. They may not know why, but if you'll change it, something in their brain will click and they'll think that you're a better writer because you are. Okay. The only other thing that you need to make sure of is that you've got your 1-inch margins, Times New Roman, size 12. The whole paper is double spaced. All right. Now, this is the hardest thing. You are going to go through every sentence and you're going to take out every single word that is not necessary to the understanding of that sentence. And believe me, it's very difficult at the beginning, but once you start doing it, you'll realize how much more compact and powerful your piece will be. So here's the example. Vermont is a state that attracts visitors because of its winter sports. We don't need to say Vermont is a state that. The word that should be a key. Every that pretty much can be removed. So, is a state that? Well, we know that Vermont is a state because we're living in the United States. So Vermont attracts visitors because of its winter sports. That is a much more compact and powerful way to read that sentence. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to reduce the length of your paper, which is fine. Papers do not have to be longer and longer and longer if they're filled with junk.